For nearly a year, Desiree Bradley has been staying with her 9-month-old daughter in this camper outside a North Portland home.
We were living in our camper trailer for a while, and then we had her, and then we were able to move into the driveway.
The woman who owned the home let Desiree park there for free, but that woman died this past winter.
The sons decided, they were the ones that inherited, they decided they're going to be selling. So we have until May 1st.
Meaning Desiree and her family have exactly 8 weeks to find a new place to park.
I have a child. She's only 9 months old, Evangeline. Just to be parked on the side of the road, like who knows what might happen.
Last night, the tires of the truck they used to pull the camper were slashed. The second time that's happened this month.
The safety of my family is at risk.
Desiree manages a marijuana dispensary, making less than $50,000 a year.
And bump.
Not enough, she says, to afford rent and bills for her family of 3.
I've contacted a number of places already, and I went through 211, and there's just no housing within my income. I don't know what else to do that I can afford.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
This morning inside City Hall, Governor Tina Kotek and Mayor Keith Wilson brought together a new work group meant to increase affordable housing and remove barriers to housing production in Portland to help families just like Desiree's.
Here's the situation. We know in Portland, we need all kinds of new housing construction. This group is going to be action-oriented. We're not going to have lots of meetings and just talk about it. We want to know specifically what we can do better to make Portland a place where people want to invest. And my message today is the city and the state believe in Portland. The city of Portland is open for business. We are going to grow. This is a place people should invest, and we're going to do our best to support that when it comes to housing development.
So we need to create an environment where developers are going to just be able to build and build more and build faster.
This comes amid the city facing a historic budget deficit of $93 million. Cuts to the permitting department are being floated as a potential way to help fill that gap.
When we're talking reductions, we're talking about people, not just a budget. And so we have to be very cautious and we have to be very careful to make sure that we have all of the revenue streams allocated. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
The state estimates by July, 2,800 affordable housing units will be financed to allow next steps towards building. They also say that over the next 2 years, construction will be underway on the infrastructure needed to support more than 25,000 housing units. That's things like water and utility hookups.
And we've got to focus on all income levels to make sure everybody has a place to live in Portland.
Well, what are we supposed to do until then? Like, just live on the side of the road and hopefully we don't get attacked. Hopefully there's not some random drive-by shooting. Hopefully we don't get hit and squished. Like, what happens until then?
Well, Desiree has a point there, and I asked the mayor and the governor that question today. What is being done right now to help families just like hers? The mayor didn't directly answer my question, but as we've told you before, he has a $28 million shelter and day center plan. But given budget constraints, it's unclear how or if that will be funded. Mayor Wilson did tell me the city will continue to address the needs on the streets and that we can expect an update from his office every month on how that's going. So time will tell as the clock ticks for people like Desiree. Now, if we broaden our scope just a bit, in order to build affordable housing, you need the building supplies. And this morning, Governor Kotek addressed that in regards to President Trump's on-again, off-again tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China.
What I would like to see from the Trump administration is consistency about what they talked about on the campaign trail, which was we want to help get more housing constructed across the country and make it more affordable. I would argue the tariffs will not help in that regard. Cuts to the Housing and Urban Development Department will not help. And so I will continue to communicate that through our congressional delegation to cabinet secretaries in the Trump administration that we need help. This is a bipartisan issue, and cutting those things is not going to help not only Oregon, but places around the country.
Now, focusing in on the city level here, Portland Street Response announced it is expanding its capabilities effective immediately. Now, this is the team that responds to people suffering from a mental health or behavioral health crisis in public during non-violent situations. Among the policy changes, responders will now be able to shuttle people to different services like shelters, detox and sobering centers, and food pantries. They can also opt for a bus pass or a taxi ride if they so choose. The street response teams can now enter unlocked public spaces. That includes local government buildings, restaurants, and grocery stores during normal business hours. Previously, they needed a co-responder. Teams can now be called in by other first responders as well if the initial call didn't meet street response criteria. Overall, this means they will be able to respond to more calls in more locations and give people more options to connect to services.